Hello, welcome back to another couch conversation. We're so excited to be here. So today we are focusing on muscles, so muscle development, working out, all the things. This is Jen's bread and butter. She absolutely loves talking about this. So she is going to be the one guiding us through this topic today. I think one of the things we hear a lot from you guys is you struggle to figure out how to get working out in. I think everyone is so busy, work, marriage, kids, all of the things. And so what advice do you give to people when they are trying to build new habits around working out and movement in general?
Yeah. Okay. So as Ashley said, I love fitness. And the reason I'm passionate about it is so many things, but it improves your quality of life so much. And it's so important to find ways to get movement into your day. But we all fall into this trap that Ashley's talking about where we have this all or nothing mindset. So we think that if I can't get an hour-long workout in, if I can't work out 5-6 days a week, it's not worth it. And so the biggest advice I have, the most important thing you can start with, is knowing that any movement that you get in throughout the day is worth it, and it's really important. And oftentimes it takes prioritizing those small little starts of movement, those little habits, like maybe it's walking for 10 minutes after a meal, one time a day, twice a week. It's something so small that those habits build upon each other. And we get out of that all or nothing mindset and we start to move. And then movement begets movement, right? The more you move, the more you want to move. The more you find yourself working out, the more you'll start working out. So oftentimes we'll just encourage clients, if you're just trying to get into maybe strength training and you're wanting to do one of our workouts, but 30 minutes feels daunting, you can't get up before your kids or you don't have time over lunch, do 3 minutes. We don't care. Like, get your weights out and say 3 minutes. I'm going to start the timer. I'm going to do 3 minutes of this workout. And then the key here is, this is where it gets tricky, and I know we all struggle with this, be proud of the 3 minutes.
Right, that's hard.
It's so hard, right? Because we want to be like, it wasn't enough, I didn't do the whole workout. You have to change your mindset to be like, I did it. I did 3 minutes. That was my goal.
Yep.
And you build off of that. And then next thing you know, go ahead.
I'm going to interrupt you, but I want to tell you something funny. So, you try to take pride in your house, and I hated strength training. Hated it. Just couldn't figure out a way to do it. Struggled to have accountability. So I had my boys help me, and we drug all of our free weights up, and it became an accessory in our kitchen. Just because it was there, I would see it. It was kind of a reminder. And again, it was just, I could pick up the weights whenever I wanted to. They joined in, which made it easy and not feel so daunting. And so it's finding those little ways to kind of get it in when you can.
To get it
and
in.
Even if that's 3, 5, 10 minutes, whatever it is, by your bed maybe. When you wake up in the morning, in your bathroom, where you may not want it as a kitchen accessory like I did. But
hey, I love it. I love that example, because think of all those moments where we go to our phone right there. You're sitting in your kitchen and something's cooking on the stove and we go scroll on our phone, and we could go grab our weights because we're right there, and you could do 10 curls, 10 tricep, dips, 10 presses, and then you've worked 3 muscle groups that you weren't going to work otherwise. So I think that's huge. And there's moments where you need to go to your phone too, but it's just finding those ways to get it in. And then other things that work for people is, the accountability system helps. That's part of what's great about, why we want you guys to write goals in VIP. We want you to say, hey, I'm going to do 2 workouts this week, and hold me accountable to it. Because sometimes the problem isn't that there isn't the space, it's we don't want to make the space, right? We'd rather do another show or whatever it is. And then I know for me and Ashley both, like, we have to have it in our schedule. It's a part of our schedule, and we do it at different times that work for both of us with what works in our life rhythms, what works for our family system. And then once that's it's a non-negotiable meeting. I mean, we even plan our work days and the time we're going to schedule together. We don't say, well, will you cancel your workout so we can do a meeting?
Yeah, totally.
No, we honor that. And so also having people in your world, whether that's your spouse, your best friends, your kids, making sure that they know that that's something that most of the time, unless you're sick, when you get to that point, again, you're not going to maybe be there today, but when you get to that point that it becomes a non-negotiable for you.
Sure. And this may not work for you, but one thing that I found really helpful is building a routine. So if you have the same Monday every week and you know when you can fit that in, put it on your calendar, and then every Monday, this is my workout time. Your Monday may look different than your Tuesday. So then your Tuesday, find that time that's always available or most always available that you can do that, whether that's in the morning or your lunch break, whatever it is. And every day you kind of have a different expectation on when you're going to be able to get your workout in.
Yeah, I love that. I think it's great. And I love how Ashley mentioned earlier, her boys being a part of it. I think we tend to get this idea, if we can't be alone with music and dripping sweat, it's not a workout. It still is. Do it with your kids. I love it when I see moms lifting their babies and their babies a part of it. Get your coworkers to join in. Maybe you're not going to get very sweaty from some of our strength training workouts. You know, like we're not talking a HIIT workout. So you could do this at your desk over your lunch break. And I think there's a part of that can feel embarrassing, but I just feel like I had to get over that a long time ago. Like, I don't care. I actually bring a band with me in the car. You guys, we could walk out there and show you. I keep it in my car. And like when I'm at a baseball tournament, maybe all day, and I know I need to move because I'll feel better, I'll use my band and get a couple, I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes of workout in, or I'll bring my running shoes and go on a quick jog if we can and the schedule allows. But my kids can do that with me. They can be a part of that.
Yeah, love
So,
that.
yeah.
Okay, so as you guys know, we love strength training. We think it's vital to so many pieces of our health. We've been talking about insulin a lot. And so one of the things that I think a fear we hear from women especially is, if I start strength training, a couple of things. Number one, am I gonna bulk up?
Right.
And number two, do I do light weights or heavy weights?
Yeah.
Because there's kind of two different mindsets. So that's two questions for you. I'm firing
Yes.
at you.
Oh, but you know how passionate I get about it. Ashley has to hear my rants about this
Yes.
stuff all the time. So you guys
We're
are just
inviting
getting to
you
be a
in.
part of it. Yeah, exactly. Because this is like, okay, so first of all, heavy weight training isn't the only way to lift weights. So we'll start there. There's value in it. It's very hard as a woman to bulk up, but you can bulk up. It depends on the way you lift and how you lift. So you'll notice when people are doing competitions, like bodybuilding competitions, even women, if you look at a bodybuilding competition training plan, they're doing sets in a certain type of way to build bulk. So there is a style of lifting that builds bulk. Our workouts in Faster Way aren't targeting building bulk, right? We're targeting building muscle mass, which is different than like bulking, if that makes sense. So as a woman, and then also your genetics is gonna play a big part into how your body, the way your muscle fibers build muscle. And so you will notice people that will get stronger or their body shape will respond differently to different types of lifts, but we're not doing that kind of lifting in our Faster Way workouts. You're not, and if you wanna throw heavy weight around and that feels really good and really safe for your body, I think there's ways to do that too without bulking up. Again, it's the style that you do. But for what you guys are doing, you're just gonna get stronger, right? It's just gonna feel good to lift the weight that we're lifting and to get stronger. And some of you might need to increase weight to get stronger. But I think we're the common misconception. So I love that culturally, we're not afraid of women lifting weight anymore, where that was a fear for a long time. But I also think sometimes the pendulum has swung too far and we're not valuing any more body weight, band, yoga, Pilates, all those things that are a great complement to those workouts. So
that have been around forever. Like if you think about it, generations ago, people weren't out.
Yeah, they didn't have
lifting
access to
bench presses
gyms.
and doing
Like my grandma never went to a gym.
Yeah, exactly.
But she was a really strong woman because she worked on the farm every day. She was essentially lifting the equivalent to probably what we would lift in a gym. But yeah, I love that point. That's a really, really important to know. So yes, so we've talked a little bit about progressive overload in the past, but it's the idea of, working your muscles to fatigue and continuing to progress and how those muscles fatigue. So there's different ways to do that, right? You can increase your weight, you can increase your reps, you can increase your time under tension. And so I think sometimes people miss the value in time under tension exercise. And I'm a huge advocate. Most of my workouts, if you guys have seen on Instagram, are usually time under tension work because that's what works at my home. I don't have heavy lifting weights. I mean, my husband has dumbbells that I can't even pick up downstairs, but I don't have like the machines to do that kind of stuff. So I personally do a lot of that kind of exercise at home. And I think it's funny when I laugh with my husband a lot because he can lift a lot of weight, but to like take time under tension and hold a light weight for a long time, which is another type of progressive overload because you're wearing those muscles down. That's the goal, is wearing the muscle down to fatigue, right? So there's different ways to do that. You can wear that muscle down to fatigue from a heavy lift, or you can wear it down to fatigue with like a low light weight. And I think a lot of times people are in one camp or the other and they bash. And I'm like, there's no bashing here. There's value in both.
Sure.
And I say that just circling back to Matt, like for him to hold those weights for a long time is really, really hard, right? But he can push a lot because it's a different type of work on your muscles. And it is gonna lead to that same breaking down because you're working to fatigue. That's the key to progressive overload, working to fatigue, however that works. If you're not getting to the point where your last set or last rep or last 10 seconds is really, really hard, then you're not working to fatigue and that muscle isn't gonna break down and build up as much. So that part is really important no matter what style you do. So don't be afraid of any style. And first, Like, I think where Ashley and I both land on this is do what you love, really, at the end of the day, do what you love. And then if you have the space and the ability and the time to have a good combination of all these different types of weightlifting and body movement, then great, that's awesome. But some of you don't. Some of you have, time to work out maybe 20 minutes 3 times a week. So use that time doing something that makes you stronger and that you enjoy, because that's what's going to make it really sustainable in your life, because you love it. And then sometimes you might, like, I know Ashley probably feels like she's really fallen in love with the workouts she's doing and she didn't maybe know she liked it. So sometimes you got to give yourself time to see if it's what you're going to enjoy.
Yeah, and I think we don't want you guys to be afraid of lifting weights.
Yeah.
So our takeaway, in addition to everything Jen said, was we would rather you lift weights and have good form and really focus on those movements and doing them safely than worrying about increasing a bunch of weight and
for sure
hurting yourself.
Yes, and too many times people are so obsessed with go heavy, go heavy, go heavy. And it's more about going safe. And I tell people, I teach workout classes and I tell all the time, I'm like, I will never be the instructor that will yell at you. Like, I don't want to see anybody modifying. It's just dumb. Like, it's just flat out dumb. Like, that is how you get hurt. Modifying makes you stronger. So if you're not ready to do the exercise the correct way with the correct form, you're using the wrong muscles and you're not actually getting stronger, right? So if, on our workouts, when you see the low impact options or the modifications, if you need to take those, take those. Because one, it's safer, and we want you to do this till you're 80.
For the long haul.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, we love this. Clearly, we could talk about it forever.
Yes. So I guess one last thing, and we may not want to go there. We can decide if we want to or not, because this could open a whole nother can.
Oof.
But there's a lot of talk about supplements that could be used to aid in muscle growth, muscle repair, rest, recovery, all of those things. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, so it's a whole nother can of worms. I think there's a lot of supplements that will support muscle growth and recovery. Like Ashley's saying, it's important. I think, basic chain amino acids is really important. Faster Way has an option for that. You can get them a lot of different places. And creatine is something we're starting to see women use. So we don't want you to be afraid of creatine. Historically, we've thought of creatine as like kind of a step down from steroids. Like, the person on creatine is going to be all jacked out and ragey and all those things that you think with steroids. Like, I think of acne when you think of steroids. That's not how creatine works. And I think we've talked to you guys about this a little bit before, but there's a really good research now too on the brain benefits that come with creatine. I think with creatine, it comes to your dosing. I think it's keeping your dosing small. If you have really large dosing and you're lifting in that way we talked about, your muscles are going to continue to build. Really valuable. Something to note, and something that some of you have shared with us before, is that sometimes when you first start taking creatine, you feel water retention, and that is part of the process. That's part of your body adapting from a cellular level to the growth that creatine is basically inspiring in your body. So our recommendation is to do what feels right for you, to talk to your doctor, whatever you think, but it's normal, know that, and oftentimes it's just for a couple days, and then you'll feel that level back out. So if you try it, we would recommend trying it for a couple weeks and seeing if it feels like it's benefiting you, if you feel better on it. But yeah, you don't have to worry that you're going to turn into, a power lifter, bodybuilder, muscle man, yeah, because of creatine. And thankfully, we know now that it benefits us as well. And thankfully, the research community in general is starting to study women more.
Yeah.
Because historically, for a long time, all these studies that we're basing everything on were just on men.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I think we'll get you guys more resources on this, but note that it's nothing to be afraid of.
And also, those are bonuses. Just remember that the way we have you eating in the Faster Way, focusing on protein, that alone is going to be transformative to your muscle growth.
Yes, and muscle growth is so important, so don't be afraid of muscle growth for all the reasons we've talked about, but most importantly, it's huge for your metabolic health. So, okay.
All right. Have a good day. I hope this was helpful.